you asleep from a drug gun, will Detective Foolbright's testimony sounds alright. No wonder he's so confident. No, he only thinks it's airtight. It's up to us to poke some holes in it. Fighting back sounds like a big hole. Yes, I think so too.
Hold it!
I gotta sneeze, hold on. Could he really have attacked his attacker after being impaled with that huge spear? Absolutely. After all, he was once a pro wrestler. The injustice of being drugged then speared was answered with a righteous counterattack. But does being a former pro wrestler make him superhuman? Absolutely. After all, he was one of the good guys, like a superhero on the side of justice, even though he was retired. He could still don his superhero guise in time of need. You need to lay off the comic books, detective. We're talking about a real life here. Setting aside the half-wit's flights of fancy, the fact is this. The court ordered post-mortem and concluded the victim moved after his skewer. So he found the strength to somehow attack his attacker, huh? Okay. Alright, so I gotta go to the court record and present something on this one. Alright. What should we... Let's present that.
Objection!
Objection! Consider the evidence. There's obviously something wrong with that statement. Your gall knows no bounds. It's shocking, really. What's that supposed to mean? You stand there brazenly objecting to perfectly factual statements. One does not see such shameless behavior that often. A penalty for a shameless attorney. Oh no, looks like Blackwell is turning the judge against me. Alright, so we'll present something else on this one. Let's go with the bloodstained statue, of course. Yeah, let's go with that.
Objection!
Objection! Did the alderman really strike the mayor? What? Are you questioning my sense of justice? Your so-called justice needs to find itself a pair of legs to stand on. You claim the alderman struck back after the mayor put a spear through him. But the statue he supposedly used to defend himself creates a major hole in your theory. It would appear that the defense has a counter-argument. Very well, let's hear what the defense thinks is odd about the detective statue theory. If the statue really was used as a weapon, why are there no signs of breakage? Apollo, when was the last time you had your eyes examined? The statue is clearly broken. See the area around their hands? Ah! Guess I missed that. I'm afraid I can't let that one slide without a penalty. Are you serious? Foolbright claims that the alderman used the statue to attack the mayor, but there's a hole in his theory. QB fought unarmed. Well, the alderman was a former pro wrestler, so why would he even use it as a weapon? He could have defended himself with his bare hands. I mean, that's what pro wrestlers do. You've a lot of nerve. But will you raise an objection in the face of swift punishment as solicitors are wont to do? Well, not if I deserve it. And you do. The defense will look before they leave next time. Is that understood? Oh, are you serious? So is the middle one? Can I try that again? There are no fingerprints. There are no fingerprints on this supposedly crucial piece of evidence. And if you look at the crime scene photo, you'll notice that the alderman isn't wearing gloves. Yes, I believe he is quite gloveless indeed. If he touched the statue with his bare hands, he should have left some fingerprints. Detective Foolbright, you did take that into account during your investigation, didn't you? This can't be happening. Did I erase the wrong man? Ooh. Chatter, chatter, chatter. You did it, Apollo. You knocked Detective Foolbright off his high horse. Well, it's just 1 point in our favor. Who do you suppose clubbed the mayor if it wasn't the alderman? Well, if it wasn't the alderman, that means someone else must have clubbed the mayor. You mean there was a third party there in the Vox chamber? Exactly, and this could be the big break we've been looking for. There does seem to be a hole in the prosecution's argument. Prosecutor Blackwell, would you care to respond to the defense's question? The least you could do is look at me while being dismissive. Your mind is as dull as an unboned blade. Justice Dunno? Dunno, he's been watching too many samurai flicks. It will take far more than that to cut down Simon Blackwell. A whelp such as you has no hope against my superior swordsmanship. This is a trial, not a sword fight, Prosecutor Blackwell. There is a perfectly good explanation for the lack of prints on the statue. You might recall that blood-stained cloth found at the scene of the crime. Well, it just so happens that the blood was the mayor's. So, what are you getting at? Hone your mind, boy. Why was there blood on that cloth? Solve that riddle and you shall see that the hole you thought you found is but an illusion. Now let's see. How was that cloth used? Was it used... Maybe the alderman wrapped the statue in the cloth? In short, he wasn't touching the statue directly when he used it to strike back at the mayor. Ah! Precisely. Bully for you, boy. Ah, it was nothing. Apollo, don't let him start manipulating you too. You just closed the hole for the prosecution. I did? Ach, I did. Right, that a statue wrapped in cloth would leave no fingerprints is as plain as day. But this also proves there are no holes in our theory above the alderman striking back. Oops. Arrgh! Now do you see how dull your mind is? I'll make sure to sharpen it next time. A particularly frightening inmate once told me that he always tenderly honed his voice before he went to work, like the samurai of yore. Samurai? Sounds more like a homicidal maniac to me. Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time. Wait, so inmate was a murdering samurai prison chef? It would seem that the victim and his killer were the only ones there after all. I was kinda attached to that hole. Now what? Apollo, I just thought of something. If they didn't find anyone's fingerprints on the statue, who's to say someone other than the alderman didn't hit the mayor with it? Why didn't I think of that? Anybody could have not left prints on it. Then who, pray tell, struck the mayor with the statue? Please illuminate us with your wisdom, young lady. There's only one answer. The real killer. Prove the existence of this real killer, then what evidence have you? Oh, I'll give you evidence, all right. Athena, are you sure about this? To borrow your words, Apollo, I'm fine. Take a look at this. Black feathers and tracks allegedly from a yokai are found at the scene. I believe they're from the third party who struck the mayor with that statue. Is the defense actually suggesting some sort of monster killed that alderman? That's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Objection!
Uh-oh. No, Athena, you just lost what little credibility we had left. Ah! Sorry, guess I got carried away. Mr. Justice, we've no time to deal with objections between members of the defense. Sorry, Your Honor. It's just this kid's still, well, a kid. Ouch. You meanie! I'm reporting this to Mr. Wright. So, is this court to believe the feathers and tracks are from a yokai, as you put it? No, Your Honor. I believe they are a fabrication. The real killer wants us to believe some sort of monster murdered the alderman. Interesting. And why do you suppose the killer would do that? Why indeed? Mr. Justice, you seem as new to this as your partner is. Ouch. I'm not reporting to Mr. Wright. Hoy, Foolbright. Explain to his baldness what these brats are missing. You know, the who and why behind those feathers and tracks. What, you mean you can explain all that? Ha 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 ha, our investigative prowess is without equal. I'm starting to think I chose the wrong profession. Very well, let's hear about these so-called yokai feathers and tracks. This entire case centers on one man's attempt to crush opposition to the municipal merger. Mayor Tenma panicked when the Amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protesters, so he stoked the villagers' fears by fabricating a monster. And the strange feather tracks he planted made it look like a yokai was the killer. Those feathers and tracks stoked the villagers' fears? Absolutely, he knew exactly how to prey on their superstitious minds. Those feathers only gave way to the idea that the alderman was slain by a demon. The accursed demon Tenmataro, that is. Tenma who? Tenmataro, the legendary demon locked away in the village's forbidden chamber. From a young age, the villagers are taught to fear the great black feathered demon, and thus were they blinded to other more plausible explanations.
Hold it!
Hold on for a second, before we start letting our imaginations run wild, isn't there someone else that could be considered a suspect? Mr. Justice, please explain yourself. On the day of the incident, there was a special event held at QB Manor, and as part of this event, there was someone dressed in the likeness of Tenmataro. Obviously, this person is a much more likely suspect than the legendary demon. Dollard, you are playing right into the killer's mind games. What? Listen here, the feathers and tracks were merely red herrings. The villagers believe the murder to be the work of the real Tenmataro. However, the police believe that the person in the Tenmataro suit is the killer. Ah! The defendant sought to sow this confusion in order to deflect blame away from himself. However, he was knocked unconscious by the alderman, and thus our mentally deficient mayor was caught red-handed at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Do you honestly believe Mayor Tenma would do something so stupid?
Objection!
Objection! The evidence speaks for itself, Foolbright. Right, it was the mayor's last-ditch effort to stop the opposition before things got crazy. The Amazing Ninetales was fueling both the yokai craze and the anti-merger movement. Plus, he's one of the better-known masked wrestlers and the hometown favorite. That's why the mayor panicked and set out on the path of injustice. But do the people of Ninetales Vale really believe a yokai was behind the crime? Yokai sightings are an everyday event there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I must say, a crime that preys upon innocent, impressionable minds. Just so, a particularly silver-tongued inmate once had the following words for me. The innocent of heart are the easiest prey. You don't say! Was this inmate a con artist? No, he was framed for the murder of his beloved. I actually felt sorry for the poor chap. Wait, so he wasn't the predator, but rather the prey? Yes, well. Now then, the defense may proceed with their cross-examination. Oh crap. This entire case center is one man's attempt to crush opposition to municipal merger. Mayor Tenma panicked when the Amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protester, so he stoked the village's fear by fabricating a monster. The strange feathers and tracks he planted made it look like a yokai was the killer. Hard to believe that a stiff, humorless man like the mayor could be behind such a stunt. Arg! We've had to do something, Apollo, before they pin it all on the mayor. And we're going to need to prove that the Mayor Tenma didn't plant those yokai stuff. How are we supposed to do that? How are we going to prove this?
Objection!
Objection! The evidence is complete odds with the witness's testimony. Your baldness. Who, me? What do you make of this objection of his? Oh, I don't know if I should, well... I have no patience for vagaries. Now answer my question. Yes, sir. The defense's objection was clearly misguided. Bravo. Nicely done. Ho, ho, ho. It seems our misguided attorney has earned himself a penalty. Oh, man, we're one penalty away from losing this.